Hopefully Fast and Furious 11 avoids this mistake now that Dwayne Johnson has officially returned to the franchise. The Fast and Furious franchise began in 2001, but Johnson didn't appear in the series until 2011's Fast 5. In Fast 5, Johnson played Luke Hobbs, an agent of the Diplomatic Security Service who was tasked with tracking down Dominic Toretto and Brian O'Connor. Even though he was against Dom and Brian at certain points in the movie, Luke Hobbs ultimately ended up working with them. After the success of Fast 5, Johnson has appeared in 5 more Fast and Furious movies, including the series' first spin-off film, Fast and Furious Presents, Hobbs and Shaw. Luke Hobbs has become a very popular Fast and Furious character, but Johnson temporarily left the franchise after a feud with Vin Diesel. After not appearing in F9, Johnson's Luke Hobbs returned in the post-credits scene of Fast X. Now that Hobbs is back in the franchise, it would be disappointing if the upcoming Fast and Furious 11 kept him separated from the main cast. Fast 11 shouldn't give Hobbs a side story separated from the main cast. Hobbs needs to work with the main cast for a large portion of Fast and Furious 11. As the series has gone on, the cast of the Fast and Furious movies has only gotten bigger. Luke Hobbs quickly became one of the main characters in the franchise after appearing in Fast 5, which is why his return in the post-credit scene of Fast X was so exciting. After working with Dom and his team in both Fast 5 and Fast and Furious 6, Hobbs basically became an official member of the crew. However, after Johnson and Diesel's behind-the-scenes feud, Hobbs wasn't present for their missions in F9 and Fast X. In the post-credit scene of Fast X, Hobbs was working with a separate team. However, now that Dante Reyes is coming after him as well, he will likely reunite with Dom's crew. This is a good thing, as it would be a shame if Fast and Furious 11 kept Hobbs separated from the rest of the cast. Since Hobbs has been apart from the main crew for several movies, fans will be eager to see how he interacts with Dom and other characters in the upcoming Fast and Furious 11. Fast X already struggled with too many B-plots and a scattered cast. Fast and Furious 11 should learn from Fast X's mistakes. Fast and Furious 11 should not follow the same structure as Fast X, since that movie struggled with a scattered cast. The cast of Fast X was split into many groups. Most of the team was together for the Rome sequence at the beginning of Fast X, but then the characters were split up for the rest of the movie. Dom and Dante were in Rio de Janeiro for much of the movie, while Roman, Tej, Han, and Ramsey spent time in London, and characters like Letty, Tess, and Cypher were at a black site prison in Antarctica. Since reports indicate that Fast and Furious 11 will be the last movie in the series, it should bring all the characters together, rather than keep them separated. It is still unknown who survived the cliffhanger ending of Fast X, but given the series' track record, it is likely that almost the entire cast will return in Fast and Furious 11. If the entire cast is coming together in Fast and Furious 11, it would be extremely disappointing if Hobbs isn't part of the group. The Rock's Hobbs is at his best when he is with the Toretto family. Luke Hobbs belongs with the Dom and his crew. Even though he spent much of Fast 5 in pursuit of Dom and his allies, and didn't even fully trust the crew yet in Fast and Furious 6 either, Johnson's Luke Hobbs has since been welcomed into the family. The fact that Hobbs and Dom started out as enemies before becoming friends actually gave them one of the best dynamics in the entire Fast and Furious franchise. This is why it was so disappointing when Johnson left the main series after the Fate of the Furious.